Yeah, g'day guys, Mark here and welcome back to my shop. Now this week I had been hoping to make more progress on my red drop radial cylinder heads, but we've had the wettest July since 68 years, so it hasn't really been conducive for doing any castings. I thought I'd do a little welding job. By the way, it's Arc Captain's birthday this week. This is an affiliate of the channel for over a year. They make fantastic welders and they've got some really good deals going at the moment. So I suggest you go to arccaptain.com and get yourself a welder. Since I've had this surface grinder, it's been sitting up on the pallet which it delivered on. And even though I cut that pallet down to shorten it, it's still kind of really annoyingly in the way, and I've kicked my toes on it a couple of times. So let's do something about it. Now Jones+Shipman only provided 3 mounting points, one at each corner, one at the middle at the back, and I'm not going to bolt it down into my concrete. I like to have more flexibility to move machines around, so I like to put it on vibration isolating feet, but I also like having it up high enough that I can move it around with my pallet jack. Now the forks on this are 53 centimeters wide and a bit over 3 inches high when retracted. And luckily those are far enough apart that my pallet jack will fit under there nicely. So with those feet being 35 millimeters high, it looks like I need to add about another 45 millimeters lift above that. These height adjusting studs are M12 and the hole in the base casting is just under 17 millimeters. Now to make 3 riser blocks, the smart thing to do would be to go and find 3 blocks of steel, cut it out, poke a hole in it, and be done. But doing things the smart way would be kind of off-brand for this channel. Mail time. Oh wow. Arc Captain said they wanted me to try out their new helmet. Oh wow, that's a spacey looking one. Need to also take the film off the inside of it. Modern welding helmets really are amazing. Much better visibility than you used to have with the old green glass helmets. Okay, in the box we've got 2 spare visors, 1 spare inner visor, 2 spare batteries, instruction manual, and some stickers. You know, I am amazed at how many companies don't put stickers with their products. I mean, to me it's the most obvious form of marketing. By the way, when I went to Germany last week to pick up the rotary table, I did a detour on the way back and bought this out of the Austrian classifieds. It's just a coolant system, I think from a lathe. It was made clear to me last week that for the best performance with surface grinding and for the best dust extraction, you really want to grind with coolant and only use the dust extraction system when you're dressing the wheels. Now I knew I'd need some steel and I could have just gone to the local steel shop and bought some, but this came up in the classifieds and it was a bit cheaper and it meant that I didn't have to drive through the rush hour traffic zinc plated, so I'll have to take that off with a bit of acid, but otherwise this is perfect for what I want. So I'm thinking a weldment made up kind of like this. This is 40 by 12, so if I cut the steel across here and across here and like here, and then 1 more piece on top, weld it all together, poke a hole through it, then I can have the adjustment on the inside and have a separate fastener up to permanently mount it to the machine. Not sure if that's a good idea, but hey, let's give it a go. So mild steel, 6 to 13, I've got 12, so I want 55 meters per minute. Alright, well then we'll cut to length. I'll let them soak overnight in vinegar to take the zinc off. Okay, a few bubbles starting to rise, that's good.
Tomorrow.
Right, well after an overnight soak in really cheap vinegar, that zinc should be pretty much gone. There's still a wee bit on there, but not much. Right, next off, we're off to the milling machine to clean up and make perpendicular all of these edges, and then finish squaring up the blocks to 40, 52, and 64 millimeters. Right, next up, I'm going to need an end stop. Right, well with that done, next I need to start prepping for welding, putting some miters on stuff. So I need miter on that face here. Right, so let's set up a chamfer mill and get stuck into it. The copper wire helps ensure that all three parts are gripped tightly by the vise. So my only chamfer tool is this one, which I self-ground from a 1/2 inch broken carbide end mill. I got a video on this, I'll leave a link. So with that I can just about do a 1/4 inch bevel. I'm not going to get full penetration welds, but I think they'll be fine. Right, with all that mitering done, it's time to start looking at assembly. Okay, so here's a bottom and 2 sides, so I can start by just putting a few tacks on those. The stuff I'm welding's thick enough that I'm not going to bother trying with TIG. I'm going to go straight to arc welding. I'm using 6011s, so no, 6013s, so I'll do electrode positive. I've got an 1/8 inch electrode in at the moment, so I'll just use that for tacking, but when I do the final welding out, I've got some 5/32 or 4.1 millimeters, and I'll be using those. Now I quickly realised that I'd completely forgotten how to arc weld. I wanted to fill in more metal, so I slowed down, but of course that just burnt it in more. It's obviously getting pretty hot and kind of burning in here. Maybe I'm moving too slow. Guess we'll see. So that was at 150 amps. I've just dropped it now back a little. I was kind of expecting that I'd need to do 2 passes. Can anyone remember what I was trying to achieve here by welding this? Why didn't I just make it out of a solid block of steel? Ah, that's wrong. After a few pretty ugly false starts, I ended up on about 135 amps. At the start I also tried weaving, but really it was better once I started laying down 3 beads into each of those V's. Right, with the welding done, I'll just give them a quick clean up with the angle grinder, just so I can sit them in the milling machine. Right, there's one roughly flat side, and then I did clean up this bit as well, so that gives something that one jaw to sit against, and for the other jaw I'll just use my little magnet, which was made by my mate Luke down in Malta. Oh, it didn't complete its gear change. Okay, well, it looks like I'm stuck here. I've tried rebooting the Maho, but I'm getting a ins mod for HM2 PCI failed. Host mod 2 is the driver which interfaces with the Mesa cards. So it looks like I've got some sort of a, I don't know, hardware failure or something at board level. I don't know. I did find an old help file which said to run list PCI -v, which I've done here, but I have no idea what I'm looking for. So what I'll do in the meantime is I'll shut the Maho down and try finishing the parts in the lathe. This kind of precision lathe was never designed for cleaning up welds. Poor lathe. Now with those all roughly cleaned up, I think I'll even them up on the surface grinder. All right, just adjust the stops so it reverses in the right place. By the way, while playing around with the grinder, have you guys seen the YouTube channel lappemountainliving? Andy's obviously a tool maker or tool grinder by trade, and he has an amazing set of videos. I'm actually surprised that the YouTube algorithm didn't offer them to me earlier, because he did a really good video just this week on making a reamer from scratch. So I'll leave a link. Well, it's not a great surface finish and it feels kind of rough, but fit for purpose. At least they're all now the same thickness. Well, with those now ground even, I can poke some holes in them. Okay, I've just realized that with this in, I'm only going to end up with like 2 millimeters of adjustment here. Not really thought through. I think I'm probably just going to be better off just forgetting the second fastener and just adjusting from the top, which of course means the whole thing could have just been a block, meaning pretty much everything I've done here was a waste of time. Right, well after all that, let's go and start the main job, which is getting the surface grinder off its pallet. Right, what I need now is the controlled destruction of the pallet, cutting away everything which is not between the machine and the forks. So I need to cut through here, exposing this area, cut the middle bit out, exposing the back one, and the same on the other side. Right, well that was the easiest possible bit. Hard part's going to be cutting up underneath. That's the easy half done. Let's just move this forward a bit. So I should now be able to lower it down onto its 3 feet with their cribbing. And then I've got the most fun part of all, and it's trying to get rid of the final part of that pallet, which has got a cross in the middle underneath. Right, getting really close now. I've just got that, not that first, that second, but the third piece is too wide. I'll just zip these ones off so I can tilt it more, and then I can cut that a bit narrower, and then hopefully I can get it out. Alright, I bought some more all thread, so I need to make up longer studs for these. Looks like I need maybe 16 centimeters. That should allow for a bit of adjustment. Now, as far as I can tell, that edge there is not going to allow a washer to sit down flat. So I might just knock that edge off. Right now I'll just cut the edge off that washer. I'm hopefully ready to lift it and get that cribbing up from underneath and put the final screws in. Now I'm just a bit concerned about where the jack's going to actually sit under here. I think I still need a bit of cribbing at the back. There are no pads there. Right, I'll just lower it down a bit. Right, let's push it back to the wall. Now let's see if those feet are tall enough. Nope. Might just be the cribbing that I put under the back there. All right. Having only 3 points of contact, this should be a pretty simple machine to level. So it starts off with the right hand side too high. Bit of adjustment. I drop both the right hand down and raise the left hand side up a bit. Now front to back. Needs to go down a little at the back. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. My guess is it's probably going to need to settle for a day or two, get used, and then take another look at it. I chose the hottest day of the year so far to do this, so glad to have it done. You know, the funniest thing was just about finished, once I had all the welding done and everything, I went looking for those green vibration isolating feet, and in the container with them were these 3 blocks of steel, which are almost exactly the right height, already have a thread in them. And I remember when I got this, having a chat with my mate Luke, saying, oh, looks like these are already some riser blocks. And he's like, no, they're hardened steel and they're ground really nicely, so I'm sure they're for some other use. So I don't think so. I think those were what I was supposed to use. A big thanks to our captain for supporting this channel and sending me the new helmet. Oh, by the way, works great. I guess also my apologies to our captain for doing such bad welding with their nice product. I guess I need more practice at doing thick material. And yes, I have set it up with the ugliest sides sticking outwards. Stick around for this next video, which is going to show up here. And thanks for watching.